you know, obviously Paddy and Owen Toal are both out. Paddy McNair and Owen Toal both have, you know, the bad hamstring injuries that are going to keep them out for the best part of 8 to 10 weeks probably. So they're looking at, you know, end of December, January before they're going to be fit again for their clubs. So they're both having both those players out as a blow, because it's two of our starting choice back three for the last 2 games. But again, that presents opportunities, you know, for Kieran Brown. Hopefully Daniel Ballard will be fit to come back in. Trey Hume has been a constant in that. Brodie Spencer can play in there as well. So we have a little bit more flexibility in terms of our options. The thought behind Rory was really, you know, to bring him in, to get our eyes on him. He's obviously played exceptionally well for Gareth at under 19. Unfortunately, injury deprived us of him in the summer for the under 19 finals. He's been really good for Tommy Wright in the 21s, and it's just to see him. You know, I had a good chat with David Weir, the technical director at Brighton. He feels that Rory's ready to play, like in the Football League. That'll be the next step for him in terms of his pathway. You know, I imagine that, you know, whether it's in January or possibly in the summer, he'll go out on loan. You know, Brighton are a very, very good club at managing the development of young players. So I think Rory, it gives us a chance just to work with him, get him better in, because we do see him as a player that hopefully in the next 12 to 18 months will really progress into the senior squad. And he's not alone. You know, Aaron Donnelly is an option for us to call in. I felt that Aaron, because he's playing for his club team at Colchester at the minute, it may be better for him to stay with his club at this minute in time and get game time. Michael Forbes is a young centre-back out at Bristol Rovers on loan. So, you know, between these, you know, 2 or 3 centre-backs, hopefully they'll all come through and play at a good level and become an integral part of the squad. So we've had Michael and we've had Aaron in, so it's a good chance to have a look at Rory. I think off the back of the Bulgaria game, there'll be a certain level of expectation, which is a good thing. The players have to learn to deal with that as well. I think the game, obviously against Belarus, played in the neutral venue and behind closed doors, it's just never easy, but I thought we played very well on the night. Second half was more difficult for us because they sat very deep, and they were more than happy to get away with a 0-0. We obviously had chances that we didn't take, particularly in the first half, 2 or 3 in the second half as well. A little bit of misfortune as well, you know, Owen Toal's header off the post, and 1 or 2, goalkeeper makes 1 or 2 good saves as well. So it was a game that obviously we felt we should have won. But I think that their approach will maybe be slightly different in the game, and that they'll come and try and make the game more difficult for us. They'll have looked at how we played against Bulgaria, where the game was more open, and they'll be wary of, obviously, I think, opening the game up as well. Well, I think, look, Isaac's been a player that I brought in right from the start, going back to coming back in my second spell. And I just felt he was a player with a lot of potential, having watched him not play, obviously, first team football at that point. He was playing in Everton's under-21s. He had been around the sort of first team squad, but had obviously had very limited minutes or opportunities to play. And I think over the last, I suppose it's 18 months maybe now, that we've seen the development of a player. He's moved abroad to Stade de Liège. He's playing regular first team football. He's been a key player for us. He's started most of the games since I've come in, and the final bit or one of the areas I suppose for Isaac mostly to improve in was in the final third, and he obviously delivered in the game against Bulgaria. So I think it showed us what he's capable of. He's a very young player still, so we've got to be careful that we don't expect too much. But his confidence will certainly have benefited from, obviously, the hat-trick. It was a great hat-trick. The third goal in particular is a fantastic strike. He is capable of that. And he's a player that I think, is very adaptable. He can play in a number of positions for you. And going forward, I expect him to be a big, big part of this team. I suppose over the previous 18 months, the games where we were beaten were always very narrow, 1-0 defeats here. So we weren't able to get ourselves back into the game. I think over the last 12 months we've developed much more. Obviously we've scored and won games, we've kept clean sheets, and the next phase of that is, I suppose, that when you are a dominant team or more dominant with the ball, that you can turn that into goal scoring opportunities, and you can hopefully take those opportunities. I think that we still would have to learn how to, you know, break down maybe a team when they sit in, you know, if they're lower defensive position or block, so to speak. So if you look at, for example, you know, the second half in Bulgaria, we had to deal with that. They dropped deep, hadn't scored, and we weren't able to break them down and create really a clear-cut chance. So these are all things in the development of this team. It won't be solved, everything won't be solved because we scored 5 against Bulgaria. But what it will do is it will give the players real belief, real confidence, and we have to continually work. For me, it's the area of the pitch where we most have to improve is still in the final third. I think defensively we've been good. The number of clean sheets dictates that. I think we're good without the ball as well. I think, you know, our pressure and our structure is very good. I think just at times we've maybe, you know, wasted opportunities, or we've struggled a little bit to create when we've been the more dominant teams at times. Well, look, we've had a year where our opportunities to play here have been limited. You know, we had a great result going back to 12 months ago against Denmark here, which was, I think, where people maybe started to see the start of this new team that's developing, and then obviously we've played away from home predominantly in March and June. So coming back here and playing against Luxembourg was nice, and obviously the Bulgaria game is great for the players because they're learning to play here. They're understanding what the crowd will give them here, what they have to give to get that atmosphere within the stadium, and you know, I think the fans were phenomenal in the game against Bulgaria. And with young players, you want them to turn up here looking forward to be playing here, not to feel you know, fear or nerves coming into the game, but to have belief and to embrace the anticipation of the crowd. So my message would be just stick with the team. They will need us. It will not just be, we won't come out and win 5-0 every game. It would be lovely if we could, but you know, I think hopefully they see a young team, or an energetic team who really love playing for Northern Ireland, and again, hopefully we can have another special night here.